you to stay away from social media if you're getting that level of hate and you're getting that level of harassment, because just indulging in it is not healthy for you. But yeah, fair point. Number 3, they gain an advantage by ripping off a pre-existing game instead of making something original like I did. Shut the fuck up. What do you mean original? This game is like scuffed Weeaboo Hitman, okay? Let's not try to pretend this game is any bigger than it is. It's scuffed Weeaboo Hitman with like a dating mechanic and like a day-by-day mechanic like Persona. Let's not pretend this is any bigger than it currently is. I'm just gonna put that one out there, dog. But, you know, it is what it is, right? It is what it is. Now, because of all of this nonsense kicking in, okay, you have Yandere Dev who said some pretty unsavory things about to one of the devs of Lovesick or sorry, rather, Watashi no Mono, to stop development and tried to do the same to the Lovesick project. Now, I don't know how real these Discord messages are, again, until I refresh a Discord message, and that goes for any Discord message you've seen in this video. I don't really believe it, but let's read some of these, okay? This is apparently real. This is apparently this is apparently full-on real by the community. So in short, you're asking me to go up to my entire community and say, hey guys, my game was fake the entire time. My coding's bad and I'm starting from scratch because the game is trash in general. Sorry, you can leave the fan base now. To which you get yes, because that's my understanding of the situation. Would be nothing short of honesty and transparency to admit this to your audience. No, that's not how it works. I took people's suggestions. It doesn't mean I'm incompetent or bad at anything. I don't know what to tell you. I feel like I'm speaking to people who come from two complete different realities. In one reality, Watashi no Mono is a sham. In the other, Watashi no Mono is a genuine attempt at a game. What I do know is that people feel justified in attacking me or lose faith in me or withdraw financial support in me because they believe Watashi no Mono is proof that I could be doing my job faster. But from what I hear, Watashi no Mono is held together by bubblegum and band-aids. Holy shit! That's coming from... What? That's wild! So if I make a video saying, guys, I don't have enough income, and the response is, you don't deserve income, WNM is proof, then I have to follow up by explaining that WNM isn't an example of a well-developed game. And it would suck ass to have to do that. So, because people are saying that, hey, these other game developers are making the same game, but at a faster pace, which is a fair criticism to make, this person's response is, well, that game isn't just well made. I think that's kind of a really shitty response to make, very disrespectful, but hey, what do I know, right? I didn't make a Yandere game, so fuck. The irony isn't lost on me. It's possible that I have an incorrect understanding of the situation. Maybe the volunteers and ex-volunteers I spoke to were exaggerating or mistaken. I've been told that X is 2, which is why I've drawn the conclusion that X plus X is 4. Maybe I've been misinformed about X. What I do know is when people attack me, mistreat me, abuse me, and harass me, their justification is Watashi no Mono. You're working on a project that negatively impacts my well-being. And when I ask, can you please tell the people in your comments not to be shitty towards me, you won't even agree to do something as basic as that and humane. Which is true. Very easy, you know. Nobody harasses this individual. I think any creator should give other creators that same fucking respect. You're literally asking me to take someone down. You're literally asking someone to take down their hard work to better your hard work. That's not basic and humane. Yeah, just give them, just tell your audience not to harass, but don't take down your game. You don't have to take down your game. You worked hard on it, and you had the ability to show it and be proud of it. So do that. Now, it gets to a point where it's a little bit too far, right? The actual drama started a while ago, but I don't feel like talking about it. If you are aware that your project is having so many destructive consequences in another person's life, how can you possibly continue? Don't you see how this is harmful and damaging for me? If the cost of Yandere Dev was ending a person's life, I'd cancel development. Now, that's a pretty poor choice of words to use. A lot of people consider this to be almost like baiting of ending your life, which I don't think this is. Initially, I did. I kind of feel Yandere Dev is more so talking about his, like, future financially being ruined because of other competitors in the market. who are developing games at a faster, much better rate than he is, which, to be fair, okay, like, I understand where he's coming from. Like, he feels threatened, and maybe he should be, because his financial support is dwindling, like, his Patreon's going down. But, bro, you're not obligated to anybody's fucking bank. You're not obligated to fucking anyone's paycheck, okay? Either you do the work and you get paid, or these other developers who are doing the work better get paid by the Yandere Simulator community. At the end of the day, the people paying you just want a Yandere Simulator game. It doesn't matter who it fucking comes from, as long as they get the game that they want at the quality they feel is okay, they're going to give money to that specific developer. It is what it is. That should be the theme of the video. It is what it is. Now, at the end of this whole situation, the final message to give is, I believe in Yandere Dev, and I believe in Yandere Simulator. With all that said, though, I feel like with the way this game is programmed and the amount of feature creep you're getting, it's almost like looking at Star Citizen, where you're looking at a game where it almost feels like the developer realizes they make more money developing the game than actually finishing the fucking game, which may seem like the case, I don't know.
Game in its current state, or game development is not an easy task to undergo. There's a reason why you see many cases of former game developers on the news, because they've become tired of the whole game creating gig and quit their jobs to live in peace in the mountains until the game publishers knock on their door with an arrest warrant. It's back to your PC, it is sunshine. The task of developing a game from beginning to end is very time consuming and tedious, especially if you're the only one who's working on the game. Throughout the past few years, many solo created games have gone on to spawn massive fan bases and turn into sizable franchises. You've got Undertale, Five Nights at Freddy's, Red Dead Redemption, and FIFA. These games have turned paupers to princes and needs to needs. If your game blows up, you've basically got yourself set for life. There's no need to move into another career. Just quit your normal job and live the rest of your life responding to negative Steam reviews, calling the person who left the review a brainlet who doesn't appreciate the amount of work that goes into such a mundane, heart-wrenchingly difficult task. All of the games that I've stated before are highly profitable franchises that have become hellspawn for some of the worst that the internet has to offer, but there's one game that's in the shadows, a game that's been in development for longer than Grand Theft Auto and is still not released. You'd think that a game that has been in development for that long would surely be contender for Game of the Year. And you'd be absolutely right. This game's a solid 100 out of 10. Excellent out of 4 stars. So good that my PC excreted a liquid from the power supply and is dripping absolutely everywhere. That's just the cup that I spilled. Before I get sidetracked for the umpteenth time, the game that I'm talking about today is another one of those anime games, but this time, instead of being the recipient of a cute anime girl's love, you are the dealer of the love to your supposed boyfriend. Only you're making absolute sure that no one can actually talk or interact with him whatsoever. I'm of course talking about Yandere Simulator. A yandere is described as a term for a person who's initially loving and caring to someone that they like a lot until their romantic love and devotion becomes feisty and mentally destructive in nature through either overprotectiveness, violence, brutality, or all three. Yandere characters in anime tend to be the ones that are extremely overprotective of their senpai to the point that they will go to extreme lengths to make sure that they're the only ones who are actually in love with the intended victim. I'm going to be using victim instead of senpai because in this case that's pretty much what the character is. Yandere characters have been seemingly popular over the past few years. You've got Yuna Gasai from Future Diary, Shion Sonozaki and Reina Ryugu from Higurashi. To be honest though, all the girls qualifying that franchise, they're all fucking nutters, I tell ya! And you got Sayaka Miki from Madoka Magica. These characters in their respective series show obsessive levels of love towards a specific character and will go to mental lengths in order to ensure that their love is the only one that they need, sometimes ending up killing other characters in order to get their way. Someone looks in the general direction of my boyfriend? Dead! Someone sends a text message to a group chat that my boyfriend is in? Dead! Someone falls over a balcony trying to reach their house and the place that they slipped in had been scraped by my boyfriend when he tripped over at the same place 16 decades ago? Dead! It's the obsessive nature of these characters that cause them to be quite popular with audiences. No matter how many people try to claim that they prefer Dojiko girls or cat girls, it's the unhinged violent yandere girls that tend to be exceedingly popular with weeb audiences because they provided, or used to provide, a different type of personality to the type of girls that are normally seen in anime, with tsundere and yandere yandere characters from all sorts of Japanese media constantly polling at the top of the best girl chart. It's not just anime and manga that these types of girls are popularized. In some cases, actual real-life incidents occur with yanderes, and these are told on websites such as 2chan and 8chan. These stories tend to be popular on YouTube, with creepypasta YouTubers making videos highlighting the scariest and the best stories involving this character type from 2chan. The moral of the story, as a wise man once enunciated, do not stick your dick in crazy. Now, seeing just how popular yanderes are, and in a society where YouTube was gaining traction extremely fast and people really seem to love those simulator type games, can't wait to load up my copy of Farming Simulator 2018 on the PC. One person who went by the name of Yandere Dev, going down the same route as PlayerUnknown and his game Unground's Player Bats, decided to mix the genres together and create Yandere Simulator. A game where you played a yandere girl as she tried to win her senpai's love, but they're pesky opponents that are hindering your progress, so you gotta eliminate them in the most ambiguous way possible. When the game loads up, you are treated to a nice looking, pleasant menu screen with a titular character, Yandere-chan, staring blankly into the distance and idling like any normal person would do. Oh my. The objective of the game is made absolutely clear from the very beginning, and that is to win the love of your victim. How you actually accomplish this is completely unknown to me, to you, or to anyone really, not least to Dev. But in this school of witchcraft and wizardry, there are many rivals you must overcome in order to successfully win the love of your victim. Well, there's only one, but she's a very formidable rival, and one that you have to use all of your intellect in order to overcome this looming threat. When you load into the game for the first time, you're given a deadline. This deadline is one that you have to be extremely wary of, as once that deadline is hit, you have lost your victim forever, as he's gone out with your rival instead of you. Game over! Now in your well-modeled and highly optimized world, you have a shrine dedicated to your victim. I'm tired of saying victim, I'm just gonna call him Bill. You have a shrine that's dedicated to Bill, with various items of paraphernalia either belonging to you or belonging to Bill. For example, an apple that you spend copious amounts of hours licking the tooth marks off like a normal functioning human being. You also have your wardrobe. Seeing as Unity and MMD don't seem to mix as well as people like to think they do, everyone is relegated to the same schoolwear and not a single thing is changed about them. But you know what you can change? Your underwear, your tighty-whitey, you can't say that, your multicolored and multicultural pants. These give you special abilities, or they up your abilities by a fair bit depending on what type of underwear you end up donning. But all this talking has made you late for school, you naughty girl! Get out of the house right now! Now you can choose the healthier option, which is cycling to school with bike handling that would make insomniac games seethe in their seats. Or you can just teleport right in front of your school gates. For the sake of time, we'll choose the teleport option, and look at that, the school's right there. It's super early in the morning, but this is the optimum time for you to watch everyone walk in from their daily commute from the abyss. Watch as your classmates walk past you with a blank expression on their face and slow down walk cycle animation as the pleasant music plays in the background, and look who's there! It's Bill! You try and go within 2 meters of him though, and you can't. You have a panic attack right then and there, and if you linger for too long, he starts to notice that you're near him. In the school there are different classes and clubs and classrooms you can join, all of them headed by a ghost-like figure who you have to consult before joining a club. You go into your daily class routine and you take your classes. With each lesson you learn, you can up your stats in a specific area. How you use these stats to your advantage is not made clear because the game makes you a brainlet from the beginning. At the end of the school day, you can choose to linger outside school for a little longer before you go home and have a good night's sleep. The end. Now comes the part where you start yanderaying. Your mission is to win Bill's affection and ensure that you, my friend, you are the only one that Bill can fall for. How do you do that? Eliminating the opposition. When you walk into the school, there are a couple of weapons on the floor. You'd think that people would notice that there are chainsaws and syringes and swords on the floor in front of them, but the AI is too stupid to notice until you pick it up and all of a sudden you're on 5 stars and there are police running after you. You have one main rival you have to battle with in order to make Bill fall in love with you before the dreaded deadline hits, and you've got a plethora of ways you can eliminate her using the school to your potential. You can trick her into electrocuting herself, you can drop a weight on her and give her permanent brain damage, you can set her on fire, you can push her off a building, you can get her to push herself off a building, or you can play it straight and run her through and through, but make sure not to do it when a teacher's watching you or else you can get apprehended or worse.
Expelled.
One scenario has you play out a Yakuza-style kidnapping and brainwash her or your other victim into following your orders and doing obscene things such as killing other classmates and then killing themselves. You can gain supernatural powers and dismember your rivals all in the name of true love. Yandere Simulator initially came to light at around 2013 when the developer, Alex, pitched the idea of a game making fun of the yandere trope seen in anime to the V-board. Now, V is full to the brim with contrarians who hate everything and anything if it isn't made by Sony Computer Entertainment, but the people on that thread in particular seem to unanimously agree that this was a cool idea and could work really well if made into a full game. Boy, do they regret ever giving Alex the validation to pursue that game idea. Alex then got to work on Yandere Simulator, a simulator for all the thirsty neckbeards around the world to live out their school life as a yandere character and win the love of their bill. The game hit the big time in an extremely short amount of time thanks to YouTubers like Markiplier and PewDiePie making extensive in an extremely early access state, and people ate it up. Everyone saw the video and the game and went,
Anime girls killing each other? Boy, does that sound like a snack?
and saw that the game is available for free, and you can donate for faster work done or more features to be added down the line. So the internet did what the internet does and threw money at a stupid concept once again. Now that I've given you some extensive context to the game and what made it so popular, this is the part of the video where I break down the dev's fall from grace. Not that he had much grace to fall down on. The first downside to the game is the fact that the dev is too ambitious and pretentious. I won't go into detail about his backstory because there are already a ton of videos about this, but I'll summarize his backstory in one quick segment headed by a glass of ale.
What you're about to witness is a terrifying battle of ideologies expressed in text format. Now, I must warn you, the following confrontation contains very aggressive, provocative, and sweary vernacular. And if you're not a fan of either of those statements, then too bad, because I have to read this wall of text and I'm not getting paid to... Fuck off! Chaotic method, you stupid goddamn fucking elitist snob, shut the goddamn fucking hell up and get the fucking hell out of here. You think you're being contrary to whatever someone else says does. It's going to make you look smarter and make them look stupid. You think by criticizing something that is popular, that it's going to make you look like you are intellectually superior and not appreciating something that has mass appeal and is celebration by most people. You're a goddamn fucking moron who tries to make himself look smart by attacking other things because you have no intelligence or of your own, and there's no other way to project intelligence other than insult things that other people appreciate in order to make them feel bad and make them look like some kind of enlightened connoisseur. Now shut the goddamn fucking hell up and get the fuck out of my chat room! Other people are trying to enjoy the fucking movie, you idiot! Why the fuck did I do that?
But one clear thing you should take away from him is the fact that he has a massive ego. Before Yandere Simulator, there was a game called...
Luna Side!
which was a game about a girl who thinks that some people who are living in the world don't deserve to live because they're sinners. So instead of seeing a psychiatrist or a therapist to diagnose her utter batshit ideals, she kills everybody she sees because Death the Boogeyman told her to do it.
Triple A gameplay!
He sends this proof of concept to the programmer of Skullgirls and he criticizes his game. He's not too impressed by the edge fest that's been handed to him. Now, Alex doesn't take criticism of this game too well, but okay, it's cool. He's young and inexperienced. He'll mature as he gets older. Yandere Simulator is way too bloated. It's gotten to the point that I don't even think Alex knows what the hell the genre of the game is meant to be. It's a hack and slash stealth combat based psychological thriller Steam tag bait game. It's just load in, walk around for a bit, join a club, notice Bill loitering around the main area of the building, look all shifty. Then kill someone and run! It's essentially a Hitman game with Yakuza sprinkled in, and Alex said himself he even wanted more combat-based mechanics in the game with 10 fully fleshed out opponents preventing you from ever winning Bill's love. The developer lacks focus on what his game is trying to be, which makes the experience vapid and unenjoyable. It's like he wanted GTA levels of interaction but only managed to make a cheap knockoff that you find on the 5th page. I understand trying to make your game as long as possible, but it doesn't really work when the type of things you're adding are so wildly different to the base game that is not even a Yandere Simulator and it's just a Gary's Mod anime girl server. It doesn't help that he's not actually focusing on fixing the game. He's literally just adding bullshit game modes that have nothing to do with the outer story of the game, which just adds to the amount of time taken developing this game. This game has been in development for well over 5 years at this point, and it's not looking like it's finishing anytime soon. And this is despite Alex receiving well over 100 grand from Patreon, YouTube and Twitch that could easily have gone to hiring some people or someone to help with the game's development. Oh wait! He did do that! So a couple of years ago, Alex was approached by a company called TinyBuild. If you've watched any of my old videos, you'll note that TinyBuild are a moderately sizable company and they're notable for financing and publishing indie games that have seen varying degrees of success. But they're a company, and do you know what companies bring to a project? They bring a lot of bread. You just need to be able to supply the butter or else the bread would become burnt toast with shit on it. TinyBuild approached Alex and saw the game in its current state, or weird MMD. So they gave a study suggestion to Alex.
How about we give you one of our minions to help you develop the game, and we'll help finance it so it's actually released a century. Do we have
So they kicked out one of their developers and handed them over to Alex for him to do as he pleases, which was of course to help him work on the code for his game. The dev was probably fine with working on the game until he actually saw the code.
What is this?
The code was a nightmare. It looked like the work of someone who'd taken one beginner lesson on Code Academy and declared himself the next player unknown. Summarized on Reddit, some of the functions that he had put in the code were unnecessary and just helped to bloat the game into oblivion. He stated that the update function has nearly 2,000 lines of code. Each character has that function running. Multiply 2,000 with the number of students that are in the game and you have the amount of lines in code being executed per frame. For each character that's been added, an extra 2,000 lines are added. The most recent update to the game added 30,000 more lines of code that it has to run every single frame. Consider yourselves lucky that your computer hasn't nuked your neighborhood into Morrowind. This was what the TinyBuild guy had to deal with. Despite this, he took on the challenge of developing the game properly so that the code was not spaghetti. No ifs, no else's, no buts. Seemed to be going well, then suddenly patrons that he's been dropped by TinyBuild in this statement. So now let us quickly dissect some of this statement.
For a long time, I was extremely reluctant to consider the possibility of bringing another programmer on board the project.
Oh gee, I wonder why.
I didn't want to risk losing weeks or months of my time teaching someone how the systems work, how to modify various aspects of the game, where important files are located, etc, etc.
Honestly, you'd be losing a little more than a few weeks or months of your time with the code that you had going. You'd probably need a few generations in order to walk someone through where all the magic is supposed to happen. And considering how slow the development of the game is, I honestly don't see the point in not bringing in another programmer, because you could have had a cleaner build of the game released in a much shorter time period than this ass flip piece of shit.
I didn't want to risk the programmer modifying my code in any ways that make it alien and foreign to me, impeding my ability to make
A programmer who's better than you in design would make it seem a little foreign to you. He'd be teaching you more than you'd be teaching him. He tends to repeat himself regularly during the statement, so I'll summarize the events that happened according to him. The programmer who was sent by TinyBuild rewrote the entire code of the game from scratch. He saw firsthand just how spaghetti the Codetti was and fixed the issue to make the code actually usable. This did not go down well with the Yandere dev, as he couldn't read the code. It looked clean. It's not meant to look clean, it's meant to look dark and gritty and messy. That's more like it. Long story short, TinyBuild dropped him. Even though he likes to claim that he was the one who dropped them, they dropped him.
Whoa, that's like fucking mean.
It's now approaching 5 years since word of Yandere Simulator has spread across the internet, and what you're seeing is the game in its current state. Now, does this look like a game that has been 5 years in the making? In a video and subsequent Patreon post, Alex made references to other games that have been in development for a long time, such as Cuphead, and cited those as an excuse as to why his game is taking so long to be made. Now, I don't know about you, but this game is certainly no Cuphead. It's been 5 years and the game still looks like an MMD animation mixed in with miniclip free online flash game. It doesn't look good. Granted, it looks better than how it did when it first came out, but this just isn't possible. Alex stated himself multiple times that the models that they're using for the game are not final and they will be replaced with other models that have been made from the ground up down the line. It doesn't really seem like these models are going to be made anytime soon if you're continuing to make animations on your model that's just an edited version of this asset you can find on the Unity store. And wait, you can also find the entire model of the school that they're using on the Unity store as well. I wouldn't be too vexed by this at all if there was at least some progress being made into making independent assets and models. Like take PUBG for example. That game was a 100% bona fide asset flip. It's like loading into Unreal Engine the first time and finding out there's a store full of items and then copying and pasting them everywhere. 10 out of 10 game design, Kotaku would be proud. But as the game got very, very large in a short period of time, Bluehole Entertainment focused their energies on making their own original assets for the game, with maps being created from scratch without them buying anything from the Unreal store. This, on the other hand, has been 5 years in the making, thousands of dollars in the bank, and not one asset of the game is 100% original and built from the ground up. Yandere-chan's living room is stolen, and the pool in the school was literally stolen from a porn game. Each of the rivals, which funnily enough only one has been not complete but complete enough to be in the game, are literally the default model but with the wacky hairstyle to make it like the animes you've been watching on the TV. When developing a game, it's paramount that you maintain some sort of professionality when in the public eye, no matter how much of a meme your game is supposed to be. From the turbulent development of Yandere Simulator, this is a prime example of how not to develop your game. The image of your game is shaped mostly by the people behind it. If it's a single developer or a small team whose leader is front and center of the game, like again PUBG and even Undertale, you've got to make sure that your own image is squeaky clean, because if your image is bad, your game is bad, even if your game is good. The image that Alex had given himself has been less than stellar, with people who have volunteered to help work on the game documenting a bad experience with Alex. According to this anecdote, there was another instance where a friend of his wanted to join as a volunteer to work on Yandere Simulator. He wanted to extend his services and Alex seemed incredibly interested and asked him to draw a portrait of one of the rivals. The artist then sent his work the same night to Alex and was met with an unprofessional and incredibly rude response, with Alex telling him that his art looks awful and something he'd never want to have put anywhere near his game. That's something that you shouldn't say about someone's art. I'm not trying to go for a gamers right up union. There's no criticism of the art in that statement. He just told him it looks crap and told him to beat it. The issue continues with Alex responding to a person wanting to volunteer as a voice actor, stating that he's very, very tired of hearing from inexperienced amateurs who waste his time, and the fact that they're all 12 to 13-year-olds with crappy microphones. With a reputation like yours at this moment in time, why would anyone even consider going for a voice acting gig with your game? Now, this photo is an official merchandise photo, and look at her face and tell me that she wants to be there at this moment in time. For the record, the current voice actors and actresses of the game, however, are pretty decent and do a good job with the stuff that they're given. With the amount of money that's being pocketed each month on Patreon, you'd think that they get paid. Well, I don't actually know. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. But that doesn't take away from the fact that Alex's attitude is horribly toxic and bitter, and one that shouldn't be allowed in this kind of environment. But wait. There's more. This is going off on a bit of a tangent, but an artist who works or works for Alex was called out for tracing a lot of her art, and she has vehemently denied that she has traced them, deciding to flag all of the comments trying to expose her. Some of the examples have been recovered and I'll leave you to decide. After multiple posts calling him out in the comment section for slacking off his game, slagging off his fans and slapping a big fat L on his reputation, he made the decision to PewDiePie 2014 his comments. No more were people allowed to send messages or comments on his video, because if you tried to, you'd be banned extremely quickly. He cited the reasons of his comment section closing as too many edgy teenage kids.
And here we have a comment that you've made quite recently that appears to be an edgy childish comment.
Really gets to noggin jogging, really initializes my cranium. He also cites constant spreading of misinformation and outright lies. Well, previously he made a statement about how he's not actively moderating his Discord and subreddit. He is merely acting as an owner by name.
And here you have him actively moderating his Discord and subreddit.
Heavily, really gets to his paranoid banning habits on Discord and Reddit are getting a good look, especially if it's over completely mundane things like asking for the update to the game. All of Alex's wrongdoings must have been enough for some websites to handle, as his official blog on WordPress where he posts his game updates get suspended very recently. I guess they got tired of waiting for the game to come out, so they decided to terminate it before it became terminal. It's gotten to the point that the modern community is best in the game itself. I used to be skeptical of all the new videos being posted about Yandere Simulator on YouTube, then I looked into it and realized that they're all mods. The modding community is doing a much better job at fleshing out the game than the game developer. How has this happened? He then goes on to denounce his own fans, the very people that gave his game the popularity it needed to rake in over $6,000 in revenue. I promised myself I wouldn't write myself to the end of the world and back in the making of this video, but here we are. The turbulent tale of Yandere Simulator and its flawed beginnings, middles and ends. Who knows, maybe the game will be complete sometime this generation, but I wouldn't hold your breath with the horrid reputation that the developer has, and the aura around the game being extremely negative. It's weird being in the camp of people who used to look forward to what the game has to offer several years ago, but it doesn't seem like the developer is growing up and maturing with his game. He's notorious for not taking criticism too well and resorts to deleting videos about him, so if you're watching this now, yay, I'm still alive! Before I wrap up this video, I'd like to thank all the lovely voice actors who've helped contribute their vocal cords to this video, and all the body actors who've contributed their body cords to this video. I do have a Patreon if you want more frequent videos and higher budgeted edits, and I also have a Discord server where you can chat with me and get work in progress of new videos and art. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you're new, and comment what kind of features you wanted in the game. Links to all the sources and information will be found in the description, and I thank thee for taking the time to feast your eyes on this video. I'll now leave you with some good old controversial Yandere Simulator posts.